tell me a scary story, but not too scary, okay?
Okay, I've got a good one. It's not scary, just a little mysterious.
Ooh, what is it about?
It's about a school trip to a haunted cabin. So, Mia and her classmates were excited for their 3-day school retreat. The cabin was old, surrounded by tall trees, and looked like something from an old adventure book. But Mia had a strange feeling about the place. The wooden floors creaked under their feet, and when the wind blew, the walls made a soft, whispering sound, almost like the cabin was talking.
Dun dun dun! Let me guess, it was a ghost.
Not everything mysterious is a ghost, Skye. Just listen. That night, everyone was having fun. They played games, told stories, until one of Mia's friends suddenly stopped laughing. She swore she saw something. A shadow standing near the old bookshelf. A tall, dark figure, completely still. But when she blinked, it was gone. Mia turned to look, but there was nothing unusual. Just the old bookshelf standing there like always. And yet, something about it felt wrong. Maybe it was just her imagination. Maybe she was overthinking it. Eventually, the students decided to call it a night. But Mia, she still couldn't shake that feeling. Later that night, the students went to bed. Mia lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The wooden walls creaked softly as the wind whispered outside. And then, out of nowhere, she heard it. A strange, rhythmic tapping sound echoed through the room, soft, deliberate, coming from the window. Her heart pounded as she reached for her flashlight. Her fingers trembled as she gripped it tightly, lifting it slowly. But there was nothing there, just the empty glass reflecting her own wide-eyed face back at her. And then the wind howled, shaking the trees outside. She gasped, her breath hitching, and dove under her blanket, squeezing her eyes shut.
Or maybe it was a ghost?
Skye, you're hopeless. Okay, back to the story. The next morning, Mia wakes up determined to figure out what happened. She tells her friends about the tapping, and together they decide to investigate. Mia and her friends wanted to know the truth. First, they checked the window, expecting to find a tree branch tapping against the glass. But there was nothing, just an empty, quiet forest. But near the cabin, everything was still. Too still. Then they heard it again. But this time, it wasn't coming from the window. It was coming from above them. The sound was coming from the attic. Mia hesitated. Should they go in or should they run? And suddenly, A loud noise echoed in the attic. Something had just moved in the shadows. Was there something in there? They took a step forward, then another, inching closer and closer. And just when they were close enough to see, and then they saw it. A small, fluffy squirrel. They sighed in relief. All that fear over a tiny squirrel. Later that day, Mia and her friends finally got some answers. The old caretaker, who had been looking after the cabin for years, explained everything. He said the cabin was old, and over time, tiny cracks formed in the wooden walls. When the wind blew through them, it made the eerie whispering sounds. And the tapping at the window? There was an old tree nearby, and on windy nights, its branches would knock against the glass. Mia and her friends felt silly for being so scared. The ghostly sounds weren't ghosts at all, just nature and an old cabin playing tricks on their imagination.
Phew, so no ghosts after all.
Nope, just a case of overactive imaginations.
But if I heard tapping on my window, I'd still sleep with the lights on.
The lesson here is, before jumping to conclusions, always look for logical explanations first.
And also, never stay in a creepy old cabin in the middle of the woods.
Oh, Skye,